Adam, you first really threw bells and whistles into my head when I saw you at the AMA, the awards. And I remember the next day, every single paper and every single website was full of it, this gay kiss. Mm-hmm. And I fell a little bit in love with you when you said, well, you know, Madonna's been letting it up for years and she did this with Britney. I kiss a guy who bloody cares. And you were the first gay guy that I know of that came out and said, well, does it really matter? And it really created a shockwave. Were you ready for that?
I didn't really know what the heck was going on because a lot of what happened on stage that made such a big deal was in the moment. It wasn't even rehearsed. Yeah. I didn't rehearse that kiss. I didn't rehearse grabbing that guy's head and putting it in my crotch. The spirit kind of moved me. I had a lot of adrenaline, and I had just seen Lady Gaga on stage and Rihanna, and they were so fierce, and I was like, God, I gotta do good. I gotta step my game up. And I got up there, and I admit I got a bit carried away, but in a good way. I mean, I got really into it.
So it wasn't planned any of that?
No, and the thing that's funny about it too is that my big defense, which is true, is that I was just doing the lyrics of the song. That's what all the lyrics say in the song. You know, I'm gonna hold you down till you're screaming my name, and all this like sexual innuendo. I mean, that's what the song is about.
I would say though, that performance was a bit of a career-making moment because of all the to-do and a hoo-ha that's created all the fuss that surrounded it.
You know, it's funny too because in the States, immediately following, I was a little bit freaked out. I was like, I hope I didn't piss too many people off and screw myself. You know, I hope this isn't like a bad thing. And I'm sure there were some audience members that did get turned off, that did go, I'm not going to buy his album that came out the next day. But my big thing was like, you know what, in the long run, this is better because this is me, this is unapologetic, this is all rock and roll, it's a good time, and why not? And internationally, it made the type of headlines that I didn't have.
Well, we picked up on it here. That's how we got up on it.
I think in that whole big picture was yet to be seen, but now I realize that a lot of the international stuff I've been doing this last month, they've said, well, we don't really care. We don't really understand what the big deal was.
Yeah. That's Europe for you. We don't shave our armpits either.
Lovely.
We've got a clip here, some reportage from an American TV show following the kiss.
What the audience got was a provocative mix of sexuality and S&M. Some highlights included Lambert dragging a fishnet-clad woman around the stage by her leg, leading two male dancers around by a leash, some pretty shocking sex simulations for broadcast TV, and perhaps most provocative of all, Lambert kissed his male keyboardist.
She needs to get out more, doesn't she?
It seems to be the big deal, doesn't it? And yet, as I think you said at the time, you know, we'd seen Madonna kissing Britney, and you know, it wasn't such a.
Well, the other irony to me was that everybody complained. They said, "Oh, it's daytime or it's primetime TV, it's network television. You know, our kids shouldn't be subjected to this." And I was like, "Well, wait, was just in the headlines that there's a soap opera featuring a storyline of two gay characters, and I saw a scene and they're making out and getting undressed, like not simulating, but preparing for sex. They're like about to go into it. I'm like, that's on at noon."
I know.
What are you so worried about?
They might catch it.
They might catch it. I think the big thing was, I think the reason why everybody was so shocked is because they weren't ready for it. Yeah. I think it was a surprise, and that's rock and roll. That's what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. And then you were on Ellen, and this is what Ellen had to say about the whole affair.
My whole thing is, I feel like if you're going to be offended by a show of sexuality on stage, then you should be offended by all shows of sexuality. It should be all forms, right? Because, you know, if you have kids at home and they're watching it, whatever, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, your kids shouldn't be seeing anybody acting in an extreme sexual manner. I don't think that's okay, you know, if you're going to be offended by it. But if not, then it should be okay for everybody. It shouldn't be excluded, you know, because everybody else does it.
That was you with Ellen.
Ellen's, I love her.
We love Ellen. We love her.
We wanted to ask you about her.
I just love her.
Yeah,
she's so cool. We talked backstage. You know, when she came out years ago, it was really hard, and we talked about the struggles of that, and she so gets it, because that was the most objective way to put it. She's like, you know what? It's all about equality. It's basically what she just said. If they can do it, then I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I said too. So.
And she's really led the way, and I think now you have moved the goalposts for everybody that's going to follow you, which is very exciting.
I don't know yet. That's kind of intense, but
yeah, Neil.
Yeah, but it's
pressure about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the big thing too. Is that what happened is that I had said from day one before this, I don't want to to be a poster boy for a movement. I just want to do my thing. I'm proud of who I am and comfortable in it. I'm just an entertainer. This is what I'm doing. Get into it or don't. And I don't want to be, you know, I had the whole thing with Out Magazine that happened before this, with them kind of saying like, you know, you need to be, you know, you need to stand up for our community and be, you know, this and that and this and that and all these expectations. And when it happened, I realized that I had no choice but to defend myself against the double standard. I had no choice but to express my opinion as to the unfairness of this situation. And so then I slowly, in turn, became a spokesperson for equality.
But I loved how you did it. It was so cool. It was like, it's two guys kissing, so what, on all the channels. Yeah. And they didn't have an answer, did they? They looked right to
No,
it.
the best was the next, that when I got removed from a morning show, I got put on another morning show that was their rival, and then on that morning show, they had me talking about it and kind of saying the double standard thing, the Britney, Madonna, Christina thing, showing that clip.
Yeah.
Okay. And then following that, they showed the clip of me kissing the guy, but they blurred it out. I was like, no one was naked. It's just a kiss.
They're petrified.
It's so funny to me. And and you know what was so shocking to me is that I've been living in Los Angeles for the last 10 years and a little bit more of like an underground alternative community. I just couldn't, I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe people are so freaked out. I didn't even know that part of my country.
Adam Lambert is our guest this morning. Let's play some more music. We'll come back and talk some more in a couple of seconds on Gaydar. Mary J. Blige on Gaydar, and Debbie here. We are approximately 4.5 minutes away from more from Adam Lambert. A whole big chunk of conversation with him.
How precise is that? 4.5 minutes? What, 4 minutes 15 now?
Well,
4 minutes.
Might be longer, it might be shorter now.
4 candles.
Yeah.
4 candles at the Easter.
Leave it.
Oh, he's had a rant on Twitter, love.
Oh,
Adam
dear.
Lambert has had a rant. 5 things never to ask him in an interview. All right? I speak better than this in the interview.
Yeah, me too.
5 things never to ask him. First of all, you're just like Lady Gaga. Right, cross that off the list. Are you gay? Question mark. Did you meet Madonna? Are you Queen's new frontman? And finally, did you kiss Kesha?
Right.
They're the 5 most things he gets asked in interviews.
Bit of a dull question to ask.
Exactly.
Did you kiss Kesha?
I think we can sex up the interview better than the ones he's had before, don't you?
Sounds like a euphemism as well.
Did you kiss Kesha?
Yeah.
Have you ever kissed Kesha, Neil? Do you want to kiss my Kesha?
We'll hear from Adam Lambert next. Our chat so far, and just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what life was like when you were younger.
I grew up in San Diego, California, and at the age of 10, my parents put me in a musical theater program because I was just I had a cape.
Oh my God.
I had the Halloween box out all year round. All I wanted to do was play dress up, and I was always like reciting things and dressing up and being different characters, and they were like, okay, this is enough is enough. And they put me in a theater group, and it was the best thing ever because I had started to feel a little different from the other kids at school. And then actually in my middle school years, my adolescence, I was still in this theater group, and thank God for it because I started to feel really outsider in school. You know, that's when I started realizing that I was gay, and I was like, I'm different. And so I was around other kids that celebrated theater and the arts, and I felt like I had a social circle. And then what after that? I just kept doing it in high school and started finally growing comfortable in my own skin. I never felt I had some serious insecurities, and I had low self-esteem as far as my appearance. And I didn't have any sexual experiences until I graduated high school. So I was kind of like asexual.
Oh, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I think, we're all here. Hands up, we've all done that.
It
We've all
happens,
done that.
you know,
Yeah.
and we're all kind of left out of that. But the good news is the one thing that I could draw upon for confidence and for validation was what I could do on stage. And I was very involved in theater and choir and the arts while I was in high school, and realized that I wanted to keep pursuing it into my adulthood.
So you were aware of your sexuality, presumably? Or,
Yeah, like when I started, developing, it kind of triggered, like, okay, that does it for me and that doesn't.
Yeah.
There you go. Not that complicated, but so scary, and I kept it a secret, and I didn't want anybody to know, and I was just so scared of it.
So who was the first person that you told?
My mother. No, actually not my mother. My mom outed me. She outed me.
Mums know, you see.
They always know.
But very, very, like just a couple weeks before that, I had come out to my 2 best friends, these 2 girls, and a guy that was a good friend of mine that was in the theater company who had just come out as well, like 6 months prior. So it felt safe. And then I tried to go make out with them upstairs when I told them it was a party at my house, and he wasn't having it. And I was like, damn it, I thought that if I just told you that I would get some. It didn't work out. I wasn't his type.
That's how I thought it worked as well. It doesn't, does it?
It's not just about telling somebody.
Adam Lambert,